is video 1.6. Today we are talking about relations and functions. So a relation is going to be a pairing of output and input values. Whatever you put in, you get out. So that can be shown as a set of ordered pairs, your x and your y's. X is going to be your input or your domain, and y is going to be your output or range. Let's say we had 3x equals y. X is going to be our input, y is going to be our output. Whatever we put in for x is going to determine what y is. So let's say we put in a 2 for our x, then for y, we are going to get a 6. So we could write it as an ordered pair of 2, 6, where 2 is our domain, 6 is our range, because the range depends on the domain. So let's practice identifying some domain and range. I have a chart here listing the stamp rates for first class stamps depending on year. Our year is going to be our domain, and our range is going to be our rate, because the year determined what the rate was going to be. First off, let's write them in ordered pairs. So we could say 1900 gives us 2, 1920 gives us a 2, 1940 gives us 3, 1960 gives us 4, 1980 is going to give us 15, and then 2033. Now, if we are wanting to say our domain, the way you're going to write it, so domain is the D, and I've seen it with an equal sign or a colon. Our book says to do a colon. Then you're going to do the little bird eye bracket. Our domain is 1900, 1920, 1940, 1960, 1980, and 2000. So unlike in English where you would put the word and, you don't put the word and under your domain because this is math, not English. So our range is going to be 2. Now, I'm not going to put another 2 because I already have a 2. You only have to put the number one time. So I'm only going to put 1 2, even though there are 2's, 2 2's. So our range is 2, 3, 4, 15, and 33. So a function is a type of relation. It's a type of relation where specifically the first coordinate or your x coordinate is never repeated. There's only one output for each input. So if you put in a 2, you're going to get a specific output, right? So your first coordinate can give you more than one output. So here would be an example. Let's say this is the, if you're texting on an older phone where you don't have the letter keyboard, if you put in a 2 and you were wanting to text, at least on the phone that I had when I first was able to text, if you wanted an A, you hit it once. If you wanted a B, you hit 2 twice. And if you wanted a C, you hit it 3 times. The problem was this, is if you knew that somebody typed in 6284, you don't know what word they typed in because it could be any range of numbers, any range of letters, because each domain has more than one range. So if you typed in a 2, it could be an A, it could be a B, or it could be a C. So this one we would say is not a function, because our first coordinate would be repeated 3 times. In this case, if we knew what letter you were putting in, that only corresponds to one range. So my A is only used once, my B is only used once, and my C is only used once. It's totally okay that our range is used 3 times. Okay, so as long as your domain is only used once, then it is a function. All right, so let's determine whether a relation is a function. So here we have instant rice cooking times. We've got our serving, and we've got our cooking time. So is this relation, where this is our x value and this is our y value, is it a function? This one is a function because you can see that our x's only correspond to one y. It isn't that you have 2 servings, it could take 5 minutes, or it could take 8. then it wouldn't be a function. But this one is a function. Let's say we wanted to know, we want to identify someone from their last name toward a Social Security number. So in this case, let's just say the last name is Williams. So Social Security numbers, I'm not going to tell you all of them, but there are 4 of ours. 5, 6, 9, 4, 6, 7. There's, I don't even know what my kids' ones are. 8, 1, 5. Let's just make up some numbers. 2, 1, 6. Okay, so Williams, and this is just within my family, not all the Williamses that are in America. Just in my family, Williams would be used 4 different times. So this one is not a function. Now, if you went the other way and said you had a Social Security number and you were matching it to a name, everybody has their own individual Social Security number, that one would be a function. The other thing that you can do is called a vertical line test. So the vertical line test is you can take an imaginary vertical line and move it across your graph. If it touches 2 points in the same line, then it is not a function. Okay. So for example, I don't know why it didn't do the whole little line there. If you were to run your finger or run your pencil or your ruler or whatever across this squiggly line, everywhere it touches is only crossing 1 single point. So this would be a function. That means for every x along this way, there is only 1 y. In this case, if you were to draw a vertical line here, you can see that it crosses at 2 points. This one is not a function. So let's use the vertical line test to determine if each relation is a function. Here's my first one. Keep in mind that it doesn't draw the best little dots when I draw with my pen. But you can kind of see that right here, that's crossing 2 points. This one is not a function. So anytime you have a vertical line itself in a graph, it is not a function. How about here? So if I draw my vertical lines, everywhere I draw it, even there, it is only crossing a single point at every point on there. So this one is a function. So for today, at least it's a little shorter than yesterday's. I hope you have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.